Well, I think even on all of that, we still largely agree. It comes down to the terminology and whether you want to work with Google's definitions or depart from them. And that's where I think it gets confusing is, yeah, and I see Clint's points on all of that. They have merit.
Oh, my points have merit.
Yeah, they have merit.
Not all of them.
He didn't say they have a lot of merit.
Well, I mean,
I'll take what I can get.
we're when you push new knowledge in SEO, you're always in tinfoil hat town. I mean, if you're not wearing a big ass tinfoil cowboy hat, then you're not talking about anything new. And so you have to go there in order to discover something new. And so, yeah, if you're an SEO tester and you're afraid to wear the tinfoil hat, then your discoveries are going to be lukewarm at best. You have to be okay with failure and looking ridiculous, and that's how you push boundaries. So I'm saying hello in chat, telling people to ask questions, suggest topics. I hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving, Black Friday, Cyber Monday. Hope all your sales went viral and your savings were infinite. I am pretty amazed. Sorry, just checking that we actually went live. I am pretty amazed that Google didn't pull the lever. So at this point, I'm feeling pretty confident that Google isn't going to screw over retailers for Q4 this year.
Nope, too early.
So Clint's still holding out hope, but this we're at a point where it's uncharacteristic. So can they still do it? Yeah, but the big opportunity for them to drive ad revenue is now past. So the bulk of the value they get by doing it is now lost. So what they have left to capitalize on is the shipping cutoff date in online retail. So that's the final day where you can place order for products and they can still ship it out to you in time for Christmas. That's the shipping cutoff date for retail. And so that date is where Google has pressure to force pay-per-click, last-minute pay-per-click spending. So there is still an opportunity for Google to pull the lever. And this Q4, it wasn't ideal, but it wasn't punishing like the past years were. And so I've been waiting for the punishing, and because of their stock value, I expected the punishing to be severe. And I just haven't seen it. And so, kudos to Google for not screwing over all these businesses. I have to give them props. They were humane.
I think the scientific explanation for what just happened right there, Ted, is that you jinxed yourself. I'm gonna double down. I'm gonna ride with Clint on this one and say they're gonna be late this year, but they're still pulling the trigger.
It's not late. It's if you look at all the past histories between the 29th of November and the 6th of December is when they've been releasing it. You look at the release notes on all those core update tracker thingies, those algo update trackers. You can see it. So yeah, I think you're calling it early. I think you're giving them a whole lot of credit. I know you're pitching to get part of Google sponsorship and for Core and everything. So proud of you in that.
Well,
can't hustle, but you're wrong.
The thing about those announcements was they came from an era where Google would kick off the Core updates like 2 weeks before announcing them. And this was back when we were able to predict the Core updates because we had a way of looking at their DevOps and detecting the propagation of the data. And we predicted like 7 or 8 Core updates in a row using that system before Google changed things up and we couldn't do it anymore. But when they were doing that, we'd always see the Core update like 2 weeks prior to them announcing that it was happening. We'd see the data and the effect in the SERPs before the announcement. And so, if it's coming next week, we're not seeing that same historic data where the shakeup has started in earnest. So it's either different technology or they're doing a different process. It doesn't feel the same at a minimum.
Yeah. Well, that's because everyone's now jumped on the bandwagon that I've been pushing around uphill for 3 years saying, hey, they're doing this. And so now they're gonna wait and make you guys wait. That's what I think's gonna happen.
Well,
everyone and their dog now was all calling them out. Finally, it took 3 years of bitching and moaning about it, but everyone's finally calling them out. I hope honestly for small businesses, I hope you're right. I hope we don't see another algorithm update until January. Let them get their Q4 stuff kicked in, hopefully before the trains stop running.
Yeah. And so I'm happy to be wrong on this. I'm just shocked because I did not expect it. I totally didn't. I was totally with you guys. This Q4 was going to hurt. And so far, I just haven't seen it yet. And so, me, I don't mind being wrong. I got to set the record straight when I think I said something incorrect. And in Google's favor, I think I might have said something incorrect. So
hopefully all the Google dev teams are all a bunch of snowflakes and you're just bad because Twitter's up in arms right now. So they're distracted for a little bit.
So Google, if you're watching, thank you for being humane. It was a nice present. Merry Christmas, everyone. Yeah, keep doing it. All right.
This Core episode sponsored by Google.
Hey, no, if Google's gonna play nice, I think we should praise. Are you kidding? Yeah, let's see if we can keep it rolling. Who knows? Maybe they'll start, telling us when like rendered indexing is offline. Imagine if they announced that and when it would be back online. That would be the most humane thing they could do for SEOs. You'd never get fired for Google's problems again. You could say, no, look, they announced rendered indexing is offline. So Google, if you're listening, announce when rendered indexing is slowed or offline. That's the next humane thing the entire industry would love you for. You want to get love from the entire industry? Announce when rendered indexing is offline or if general indexing or crawling is slowed. Announce those and announce them when they're back to normal. What do you think, Lee? Should they announce?
Well, I think that they should be honest in their communications, but I don't think that that they're going to do anything for the armies of people that are trying to screw up their systems, by manipulating links and on page and everything else. So, we are somewhat the enemy, and I don't think they're going to do things to be nice to us and help us out.
That's not true. Google's got your best interest in mind, Lee. They're here to help you.
This is a good point to ask Carolyn what she's seeing in indexing.
It's perplexing because either it's like you can index a cat or you can't index at all. So it looked like the end of last week, I could have probably launched pages every hour and they'd have been indexed quicker than normal. So yeah, it's perplexing at best.
Well, it sounds like, maybe they're catching up or between batches or something.
Well, the thing that's weird about it is, like, since I guess February, they were averaging about every 5 days coming up with a new Chrome bot build. And lately, I mean, this latest one they've hung on to for almost 40 days. And it makes me go like who was behind all that initiative? Are they gone? Are they on vacation? What the hell's happening? So
yeah, I think between like Chrome 100 and like Chrome 106, there was like a ton of security patches. So some of that might have been them scrambling to not get their Googlebot servers owned.
that makes sense.
Because yeah, I keep watching those for any feature changes or technology changes, and one of the things that happened with recent Chrome is they deprecated some older versions, support for older versions of Mac OS. And the other big thing in their release notes was a bunch of security fixes. So I'd imagine at least part of what you're seeing is them trying to secure those bots.
Interesting. It makes me think about the mobile 18 that like lasted for a couple of days and poof was gone. So I'll take a look at that. That sounds really cool.
Yeah, and I think if you look at the Chromium release notes, I hate to give you more work because I know your project is already a mountain of work, but I bet you can make sense with the release notes from Chrome, and when you see things change in the versions and the logs, like some of those things will line up as, they did this security patch, and that's why this changed on that day.
Cool. Thank you, Dan.
All right, so let's take a quick look if there's any cool headlines that should be discussed. So there's a little chatter of a Thanksgiving holiday ranking algorithm update. And when I kind of looked at that, it didn't look amazing. So, it looks kind of like status quo, honestly. And there's people saying it's not an update. There's somebody commenting, strange, still no official update, and it's going to be December. So other people are seeing it too. It's uncharacteristic. Yeah, I doubt there was an update. And there's a few people saying they saw shakeup, but yeah, I'm not seeing anything special about it, and it sure isn't a unanimous cry of rankings upset. So yeah, I don't know. Looks lukewarm at best still.
Well, it seems to be, the trend. One of my sites tanks, therefore there's an update. Anybody else seeing the update? It's like, it could be something as simple as, your backlinks are rolling off the link graph or something along those lines.
So another headline, Google said there is no SEO compliance score. What a weird thing to say. Said, think about avoiding technical errors, don't spam. Yeah, that's actually reasonable. The thing I think Google is most out to get isn't your SEO tuning. It isn't the fact that you're using your keywords or you're building links. I think what they really hate is when you mislead the searcher. So when you pull the rug out from underneath the people searching, they have a problem. Because you make their product look crappy. And so I think that's probably the thing they're mostly out to avoid. Because let's be real, when you build some backlinks and your rankings go up, so you build a bunch more and your rankings go up even more, and you think you're an awesome SEO, and then you build 50,000 backlinks and your website tanks. It was never about the number. It's not that 50,000 is a bad number of backlinks, because it's not. And the proof is many websites have a lot more than 50,000 backlinks. So it's always been about how you get there. It's not about how much, it's about how you do it. And so I think people kind of don't understand the system. And it's the same thing is true with on-page tuning and any other signals you can do. It was never about the number, because I guarantee there's somebody on page one with more. No matter what value you set, there's always somebody out there with more than what you're doing. It's always been about how you do it. What do you think, Lee?
Yeah, I think that's true. We talk about it a lot of times, discussing factor diversity and some of those things. I think that one of the things that people have a hard time with is the outliers are easy to detect algorithmically. They're easy to detect and get rid of. And so people don't tend to think, in those terms. They think, oh, if a little of backlinks is good, more is better. If a little keyword density is good, more is better, and they keep pushing, the levers that they know to push without looking at potentially how Google can detect when, manipulation is being done. So.
Yeah. The most important levers to pull are the levers you've been neglecting or haven't thought of. And so that's a great way of thinking about it. You need to think about all the things you haven't been doing, because doing the same 8 things endlessly, that's not going to end well. So yeah, you got to broaden your horizons if you only know a small number of tricks. What do you think, Clint?
Yeah, I agree with both of you. I don't have much more to add to that.
All right, well, let's take a look, see if we have some questions here. Love the show, guys. How would you handle this scenario? My questions are, would you rank the homepage or the category page for the keyword olive oil? Well, I would probably try to focus. If I was building from scratch, so the caveat here is, how would I do it from the get-go? If I was building from scratch, I'd make the homepage all about the brand and the support keywords. And what you'll find is when you do multi-channel marketing and you're out there doing social and email and remarketing banner campaigns and pay-per-click, that any effort in those will increase your organic search for brand keywords. So you can't honestly take SEO credit for all the brand traffic, because it's actually commingled with other channel marketing efforts where people see your brand in other places and they Google it and come to the website. So you have an attribution problem on your brand keywords. And so I would try to make the homepage about those brand keywords so that the rest of the site can get SEO credit 100%, or as best you can. And so I would try, if I was trying to rank the page, I would try to rank the category for your olive oils, if you have many of them. I would try to rank the category pages, and those category pages rank really well. And one of the best tactics for ranking category pages is to have a short description of each product in the database, something small enough that it could be longer than a title, but shorter than the product description. And it should be a sentence about, and then you add the short description to the product tokens. And so when you have, 25 products per page, now your category page has 25 keyword rich sentences bulking up your relevancy. And then if you really want to get aggressive, your SEO becomes how many products per page do you show? Because then you show 100 products per page and boom, you have 100 keyword rich sentences on your page. And it's all white hat. You don't have to put in stuff that'll scare away the customer. You're just adding a little extra useful information to each product token. But you have to have a store that A, you can customize in that way, and B, you have to have some buy-in with the people loading the product data to make those short descriptions, and you have to make the guidelines on how they should be keyword rich for the category. But every time I've seen a business deploy that tactic, it has always ended well. So that's what I would do there. What do you think, Clint?
I'm with you. I would look at the term, right? So when making this decision in relation to, because it's econ, because you're the expert on that. So, but I would look at the term, and he said his brand name has the keyword in it as well. So I would optimize the homepage for brand name keyword. And then, like you said, rank the category pages for the actual, because it's looking for a product. And we both know that the category pages are doing a little better than the product pages anyway, for those kind of head terms that Google says requires a product listing. So that's how, other than that, I'm right with what you said.
Yeah, and I think the reason why Google appears to favor category pages is that you get only a little bit of the authority passing through from one page to its next layer down of pages. It's not like it used to be back in 2007, where a huge amount of what people refer to as link juice, which is just lingo for whatever authority thing passes through links to other pages. There used to be a lot of that flowing through, and now there's a lot less of it flowing through. So what ends up happening is your homepage gets the bulk of your backlinks. That's just kind of the natural fallout. And so your category pages get love site-wide, especially from the homepage, because you have a global category. So you got site-wide authority coming in to a finite number of category pages. And your product pages get almost no love because they have no site-wide links, and they're getting almost nothing from the homepage. And this is why in past episodes we said that you can beat Amazon product pages sometimes with as little as 25 referring domains. It's because it's true for Amazon and all the big box stores too. You can go head to head with their product pages in search, and oftentimes they're quite easy to beat. And so when we see, Walmart, eBay, Etsy, Amazon at the top of a keyword, we don't get scared. We don't go, oh no, they're gonna beat us. No, we see that as an opportunity because we know the formula to get ahead of those. That's a free keyword in our book. And so, yeah, if you think about it, those category pages are going to be easier because of your global navigation and the authority coming off of the homepage. And that's why those are kind of strategic opportunities. But the downside with that is other people's categories have that advantage too. So you kind of have a bigger hurdle to jump over if you're playing a category only game. But don't neglect your products. You can get a lot of direct to product traffic. And the key to that is to make sure you have tons of different kinds of upselling widgets, because when you get traffic into your product, it's very unlikely that the product they land on is the product they ultimately want. So your ability to show lots of related things that can get them to what they'll actually buy is the key strategy on SEO with product pages. So if they land on a puppy coffee mug, then you want to show other puppy coffee mugs. You want to show other animal coffee mugs. You want to show other puppy themed products. You want to show things that sell well with the puppy mug, like the puppy plates or whatever. You got to get all of those upselling widgets so you maximize the opportunity to get the sale. And all of those widgets, by the way, they add relevant keywords and relevant entities. So another way you can amp up the relevancy of the product page is you take those carousels and you take them from 5 products per carousel to 50 products per carousel. And boom, you have a ton of relevant text on the page that's entity rich and keyword rich. So you can pull the number of products trick from the categories. You can pull it in those upselling widgets. So if the rest of your product page is rather thin, you can bulk it up with those widgets. Let's see. How do you handle homepage, category page, and even a content page all competing with the keyword olive oil? I would try not to if possible. Cannibalization is very real. I know in Signals Lab, they'll tell you it's mythical, but you can use the volatility tool in Cora, and you can find multiple examples of it in just about every damn keyword. I've seen one keyword this whole year that didn't have examples of cannibalization. But other than that, every keyword had multiple examples of cannibalization. So it's real. And the problem is you're going to try and rank one of those pages with on-page tuning. And you're going to have 2 or 3 URLs that are taking up the search result a certain percentage of the time. And so let's say it's an even split. You got 3 URLs targeting the same keyword. So 33% of the time, the page you want to rank is appearing in search. So now you're going to invest a ton of effort into the on-page tuning and maybe even doing off-page, but you're only going to get 30% appearance rate on whatever ranking changes for that page. And you are kneecapping yourself if you don't fix that cannibalization before you do the other tuning. So I view it as a technical SEO problem where it diminishes the value of any tuning you do until you solve it. Because if you can get one page to rank, near the top of page 1, you don't want it appearing in search 33% of the time. You want it there 100% of the time. The cannibalization, it isn't always a bad thing in e-com. There is a case where you want your products to sometimes cannibalize each other. So if you have, say you sell jewelry and you have 50 different sterling silver amethyst bracelets, I mean, they're all going to target sterling silver amethyst bracelet. There's no way around the cannibalization. But if you can customize the store, you can set it up so that whenever one of the sterling silver amethyst bracelets sells out, you 410 it. you send a 410 to that page, a soft 410. And what ends up happening is Google drops those out of the index quickly. Now, 404s, they drop out slowly. Google has said they call them mistakes. It takes a long time for a 404 to fall out of search. 410s, usually in a day or so, boom, they're out of search. And what that does is it frees up the search result to put the next in-stock product you have, the next in-stock sterling silver amethyst bracelet, comes into play. And when you do that site wide, every time your out of stock products get pulled out of search, you're popping in new in-stock products that can sell. And so you're keeping in Google's index only products that are in stock and ready to be fulfilled. And so you get much more efficient organic revenue when you're not presenting tons of out of stock products in search. So that cannibalization, it can be helpful. And if you're in a business that has a lot of its own fulfillment, so it has its own warehouse and you're picking and packing your own orders, that setup is really great operationally because it ends up selling a product until the pick bin on the shelf in the warehouse is empty. And warehouses struggle for space. They all end up in the same spot at full capacity and no room to bring new product in. And so if you can clear out those pick bins efficiently, you're making a more agile and an effective retail business. You're freeing up shelf space operationally so new products can get in faster. And so, yeah, setting that up so that you sell out of a pick bin and then you put the next product into search so it can sell out directly and efficiently, man, that's good SEO. And it helps show how SEO affects more than just like the sale of the product. It can affect the efficiency of the warehouse if you do it right. And a lot of people don't think about that, but there's a lot of ways that SEO can impact the fulfillment center. It can impact your promotions team. You can be strategic with it. All right, let's see. What about backlink over optimization since a company's name contains the main keyword? If you have proof of over optimization, Lee Witcher and I and Clint and Terry and Carolyn and Honey, and any of us would love to review that. So far, no examples of over optimization have held up under scientific testing. The main reason is we can always find limits of pages ranking on page 1 that violate whatever limit you're setting as an over optimization limit. So whenever somebody says, X amount of, this will get you demoted, then explain, these 15 things on page 1. So that's the main issue, but we would love to hear about or see evidence of over optimization, but it has been very difficult to prove. But we are interested. By all means, we want to see that evidence. What are your thoughts about programmatic SEO, mass page generation? Well, here's the thing. There are a ton of websites that are database information. So if you looked at, say, a game like Hearthstone, you're going to find lots of websites that have databases of the card images and the card text and strategies and ways to use them and comments and theory crafting. And it's all database content. And one of the big black hat things that happens is people create bots to steal your database data. The better your database data, the more people just want to steal it. And these are mass sites. You can have a quality mass site that is database driven. And I recommend that you think about doing that, because it is a fantastic way to rank and to get traffic and to build websites that work. So I absolutely love quality database driven websites. And I think it is a wonderful strategy. Now, if you're just pumping out, spun crap, that works. The way I view that working is it pulls for a time equivalent ad spend of targeted traffic. So put your best offer on top of those junk pages, because people probably aren't going to stay long. But yeah, you can at times doing that pull, $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 of equivalent AdWords ad spend and targeted traffic doing those techniques. It's very black hat. I would expect it to not last long. But yeah, technically it works. Any thoughts, Clint?
The context for the tweet that he's referencing is basically for the longest time, the white hat SEO crowd was telling everyone how those mass pages and all that stuff are, it's duplicate content. That was the number one thing they liked scaring business owners with. And then it was bad and you shouldn't do it. And Google's going to be mad at you. And now that they've given it a new name, it's okay to do it now. So that was really the context of that tweet that he is asking about. Is it to me, it just doesn't, it's kind of shocking that no one else calls these people out on their hypocrisy and their bullshit. And so that's basically what I was doing.
Well, that's why we have Clint. You keep us honest. And that's a good point. Yeah, it's same thing under a new label. But the thing about large, data driven mass sites is they can be used for good, they can be used for evil. It's a tool. It depends upon your intent, right? So if you're making a quality data driven website, I don't think you should operate in fear. I think you should go for it, because those are excellent websites. Let's see. Someone says, is it too late to jump on a Quora Black Friday Cyber Monday deal? I'll be honest with everyone. I don't do Black Friday deals, and I have an ethical reason why I don't. I offer my lowest pricing year round through my affiliates. So you can get that best pricing every day of the year. And I never, ever undercut my affiliate pricing. I don't let my affiliates undercut each other, and I don't undercut them, because that is a total violation of trust. And that would hurt their efforts to make income by promoting my software. And so as much as I would like to hop on the viral train of Black Friday deals, I'm just never gonna do it. I recommend you find an affiliate. Clint Butler is one. If you want to get a 25% discount, reach out to Clint and he'll give you his affiliate link. But that's available year round. The price of Quora will be going up in a number of weeks. I keep pushing it back because just utterly swamped. But you have 4 to 6 weeks still to get in on the lower pricing before I raise the prices. I'll try to give everyone a lot of notice and alerts as to when we get close. So don't feel like you need to rush this week or anything. What do you think, Clint, about Black Friday deals and affiliate programs?
I mean, because we're marketers, we get to see some of the back end kind of shenanigans that go on with retailers and stuff. So I get it when you're looking and you want to buy and save. But I mean, we do one for SIA because Lori likes doing it. But otherwise, I'm kind of with you. The price should be the price is the price. You know what I mean?
Well, I don't want people who signed up with my affiliates, like, because usually what happens is there's a finite audience for a product. Like, most of who I end up communicating to are people who already know or have Quora. And so they're already usually in at a price. And so say they sign up for Clint, his program, and then I offer an amazing Black Friday deal, then they all unsubscribe from Clint and sign up at the new lower price from me. And that just ultimately cheats Clint. And so that's what I'm trying to avoid, is having a program, an affiliate program that works for the affiliates. And I don't want people, constantly hopping to the next best offer. I want people to, to support who they want to support and to be happy there. And so, that's my rationale, is I don't want to undercut the affiliates. And so best pricing every day of the year. You're welcome. All right. So where were we? Here we are. What different can I do from my competitors to outrank them when they have around 300 plus index pages with Google topical authority? You got to measure. You got to find out how you're different. And I'll take a guess. You're trying to rank for a 2-word or 3-word keyword. And I'm going to guess that your titles and headings are woefully undertuned. I'm going to guess that they have a better keyword density than you. And I'm going to guess that they have probably 100 to 500 more referring domains than you. So I would probably look there, because that's kind of like the most common pattern. Like, when we go work with a new page, that's expected. And so I would guess that you have a common page, similar to industry average. And so I kind of expect that kind of deficit. But measuring will tell you exactly what you're short in and exactly where. And, every website has different strengths and weaknesses. So measuring will save you the most time and money and effort. What do you think, Clint?
I wasn't paying attention. I got sidetracked by a chicken.
All right, no worries. We'll go to Lee. Lee, any thoughts?
I was studying Clint. No, I think you're right. Most of the time it comes down to the very basic stuff. It comes back to something we've talked about before. If you've done everything that you think of in SEO to rank a page and it's not ranking well, you need to change your concept of what ranks the page. So
yeah, exactly. Let's see. All right, next question. You are an interesting group, a bit above my understanding. I get that a lot. I have a lot of people that when they first hear me speak at a conference, they'll say something to the effect of, Ted, every time you talk, it just gives me a headache. And what I've come to understand, I used to be hurt by that, but what I come to understand is that everybody's at a different spot in their journey. And so if you're not at a point where you can consume the things that we're saying, it just means that you're earlier in your journey. There will come a point where everything we say makes a ton of sense to you. And just know that, you'll get there. It's just a matter of time and understanding. So I wouldn't worry about that too much, because everybody's at a different place. It's just the nature of the beast. Do you think including country of origin and year make a difference in the title tag? They can. They certainly do for certain niches. Like when I'm looking for jQuery plugins, I usually want to find recent ones. I don't want to find ones that are 5 years old. So I will look for best jQuery plugins November 2022, because then I can get, what's new this month that I haven't seen a million times. And so for certain keywords, for certain niches, I think adding year to the title is a great way to win the click. It's saying, hey, my data's fresh, and we're in a keyword space where fresh data is better. And so totally effective, totally psychology, totally CRO. Yes. Country of origin, less so. I mean, it could matter, but I think, having the correct language is probably more important than being the specific country, but, there are places. What do you think, Clint?
Yeah, I agree with the date. I would be using it, but country of origin, I would do searches in your market, in your particular. If you're like on google.co.uk or something like that, and you see everyone else doing it, that's probably where I would do it. But I wouldn't. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a thing I would add, because of the wasted characters you could leverage for something else.
Yeah. Any thoughts, Lee?
No, I think you guys both covered it well.
All right, next one. Do you use press release stacking? Many press release publications have a short lifespan and get deleted after 3 to 12 months. Breaking the silo. How do you get around that? I kind of use them differently, and I think a lot of people have their own strategies. For me, press releases serve one function only, and that's to add a diversity of inbound authority sources. So if you think of PageRank being the scalar amount of authority you have, then referring domains is the diversity metric that kind of confirms the signal, the number of different sources you draw authority from. And so I think press releases are best suited for addressing referring domains. They're not really there to magnify your scalar authority. They're there to make your authority more credible. And so the reason I think you should do them is to diversify those authority sources. And oftentimes that makes other things in SEO start working again. I don't want to go too deep into that because we're into secrets territory at that point. I also think competing on referring domains is cheaper than competing on backlinks. And so you should probably start there. Yes, they do have an attrition rate. I forget what they call it when links end up going away. Link decay. They refer to it as link decay. And I find that depending upon the source, if you go with a better press release source, you'll keep some of the links as long as like 18 months, but there will always be some decay. And I recently had that happen during the helpful content update. I lost a lot of backlinks from press releases, and my site dropped 6-7 positions as a result. And I thought, oh, I got hit by the helpful content update. Nope, it was just link loss. Any thoughts, Lee? You do a lot of press release stuff.
Yeah, I tend to keep it real simple. I'm looking for 500 referring domains. I know that they're going to fall off, in 6 to 12 months. Generally speaking, some portion of them are going to fall off at 6, and some portion are going to fall off at 12. So, just periodically, I'll do another one. It's not an overly complicated in terms of stacking or some of the other stuff. I haven't tested that. I am setting up some tests in that arena, but for the most part, I've kept it very, very simple in terms of how I use press releases.
That's a Bradley Benner semantic mastery concept. Those guys came out with that first, and I think to answer his question, the key is every service, those providers know which ones will stay and which ones will go. And they should, most of them will tell you. I know Randy Road and Madge for sure will tell you. The Press Advantage guy will tell you which ones will stay and which ones will go. And those are the ones that they're stacking. All those Market Watch ones and all that you can tell are syndicated via an API. Don't even bother with those. It's the big ones like the AP News and some of those will all stay. And those are the ones that they're stacking. They're interlinking when they do those press releases.
Yep. When you're sending a press release to ecom category product page to get 25 links, what type of anchor text are you using? All right, my approach is make the press release white hat, make the announcement you're making real, because real businesses do announcements. And so that's expected. You don't need to do one for every category and every product. That's just stupid. So please don't do that. But do press releases in important places, important categories, important offers, and important changes to your business. Those are good things to do. And what you'll generally find if you do like a press release or two every quarter is that there's this gestalt effect that when you get a certain amount going, you kind of don't need them anymore. You kind of get ahead of your competitors, and the authority that's happening spreads from the pages you target to the pages they link to. So your primary navigation, homepage, other categories. So the effect does kind of spread. It's not solely on the page that you linked to. And so I often find that in many cases, by the time I get to my third press release, I may not even need more because the website's just doing better than the competitors. And I'll keep them simple. You don't want these things competing with you in the rankings. They should be relevant to the topic. They can be no follow links. I would do one link. I wouldn't generally do all the stacking stuff. It works, but I'm not sure it's necessary in all cases. I would try to make the anchor text really relevant for the keyword. And it's usually for a given URL, it's a one and done with me. Like I'll do multiple for a site, but I typically try to just only do one for a page. What do you think, Clint?
Yeah, when I do them, I'm only doing one per page too. I don't really mess around with the stacking stuff. I understand the concept of why they're doing it, but they're also using it to do maps. And when they do the stack, it's bringing the map and the organic rankings up at the same time because of the map embed. So, but for the most part, I mean, I'm too lazy for all that madness. I use the one. If it works, then I'm done with the one.
Any thoughts, Lee?
Yeah, I'm gonna just add, I love press releases. One of my favorite types of backlinks, but it's only one type of backlink that I use. It's not it's not the end all be all. It's like everything else. You got to figure out the appropriate uses for it and use it for those. So just putting that out there.
So somebody's asking, any tips you can share for map rankings from SEO rock stars? My tip would be to reach out to Mike Merlino, reach out to the people who presented at SEO Rockstars on the topic. And I bet you most of them have videos already out sharing the information. Most of them would be willing to talk to you about the information. Most of them would be willing to create new content talking about that information. But in terms of us sharing what they shared, I don't do that. If at all possible, I don't want to I don't want to release other people's secrets. Let's see, a page receiving 2 to 3 clicks from Google daily, but none of the keywords I see in Google Search Console are relevant for the topic. All right. Usually when I see that happening, it's because something on the page is topically pulling Google's interest off. So I have this website, Top SEO Factors, and it wouldn't rank for top SEO factors. And so I tuned it to the 9s for top SEO factors, and all I get in Search Console is related clicks and impressions for SEMrush. And it drove me up a wall because I wasn't even tuning for SEMrush. And it was a total nightmare. But I went and looked at the page, and I had 2 mentions of SEMrush on the page, happened to be in an HTML table. Surprise, surprise, keywords in HTML tables, extra potent. Who knew? So, if you're looking to test something, HTML tables is an interesting place, in my opinion. I took out the 2 keyword mentions of SEMrush, and boom, my page was off to the races for my target keyword. So those SEMrush mentions were dragging my page into a topical space I didn't want to be in. And so I think what you're describing sounds similar to what I was seeing. And I would look at what you're drawing traffic for. And if you only have a small number of mentions of that, maybe put that on a different page. What do you think, Clint?
Yeah, kind of not seeing the page, and that would be as good a place to start as any, really. It just sounds to me like it's just not optimized properly.
Mhm.
So yeah, get some measurement data. Measurement data will show you how you're different than your higher ranking competitors, and seeing those deficits makes you go, oh my God, I've neglected using my keyword. And that's usually the effect it has when you see the measurement data. Let's see. Do you think Google see as closely relevant pages on the exactly same topic but different languages, for example, Chinese and English, so keywords are really different? I think the same keyword in different languages is completely different keywords to Google. So I think the audience is different. I think the traffic characteristics are different. The origin country of the traffic is different. Culturally, I think the meaning and significance of things will vary. So yeah, I think the same keyword in a different language for all practical purposes is a completely different keyword. What do you think, Lee?
Yeah, if you're competing in 2 different search engines, because it's not often you see on Google.com, a Chinese site, unless you're searching for the term on Google.com, in the Chinese language. So yeah, they're probably different. I think that's sound, but again, we could be wrong.
So what do you think, Clint? He just walked away from his chair.
Like, the question upset him. He can be temperamental with questions.
The well guy rang the doorbell. My wife's taking care of it.
So let's see. I think we're at the end of our questions. Let me check the local here. Most likely got hit by MC4 or something similar. I forget what that was in reference to, so I can't answer it. All right. I guess last question came in. It was in reference to over optimization. Yeah. If you trigger MC4, so what happens with MC4? It's a web spam algorithm that says if you exploit a minority of factors, that the algorithm should just ignore those factors just for your page. So when you do backlinks, I did backlinks, did a bunch of backlinks, did 50,000 backlinks, and my site tanked. People say, oh, I'm over optimized, or Google penalized me and I need to disavow and do link removal requests. And that's usually the wrong thing to do, because odds are there's not a single human being over at Google that is aware of the situation. It was an algorithmic demotion because an algorithm like MC4 told Google to not count the one trick you use as part of your score. And so the way you get it to use it as part of your score is you diversify your ranking signals. So we want you to go wide in ranking signals before you go deep in any one signal. So if you go deep in a signal and it doesn't end well for you, well, welcome to MC4. You just joined the club. All right. So
before where did people read up on that? Because like you Google MC4 and there's no clear thing explaining what you're talking about.
Yeah, you're not going to. There are academic white papers on MC4, and it came through personal contacts that it has a relationship with Google. And so the thing that's mounting is we see the behavior that we would expect from MC4 all the time. We see it when you keyword stuff your page to ridiculous amounts. We see it when you do tons of link building. There are MC4-like effects. We can't prove that it's MC4, but it's if anything, it's similar to MC4. It behaves like MC4. And so we bring it up to characterize these behaviors that people call penalties and over-optimization. And we've had a history of breaking out of those supposed penalties by diversifying our ranking signals. We can avoid them in the first place, and we can recover from them by diversifying the factors. And that solution is a solution you would use for an MC4 demotion.
What does MC4 stand for?
Markov chain 4. There's a version 4 of it. And it's getting deep into computer science, and so you're welcome to explore it. And the reason it came to light is I have an advisor that does statistics for clinical trials and cancer research. And someone at Google told the cancer researchers that this algorithm could remove some genetic noise from their study the same way they remove noise from search. And so that's how it came around. And, it's all anecdotal, but boy, does it ever explain behaviors. And the solution for MC4 works. So if the solution for MC4 problems works, I mean, that's a pretty good clue. So diversify before you prune and, link removal and disavow and detune, diversify first. Do those other damaging things as a last resort. Diversify first.
You said Markov or Markov?
Geez, I'd have.
KOV. Yeah, it's KOV.
Okay.
It's
Markov
chains. It's statistical shit. Basically, the whole thing is a fancy way of saying this is the math behind you being a one-trick pony.
All right. So do citations work well on non-local business for an educational site? I do not know.
What was the question?
Do citations work well on a non-local business for an educational site? I mean,
Yep.
that's something.
Yeah, use part of your branding, do a part of your brand establishment when you're trying to, especially for a brand new site, making it an entity. If you do citations, kick that off. Same with affiliate sites, you can drop citations to them. The links have no value until you build links to them, but you can certainly use them for that.
There you go. I mean, great question. I had no clue. I've never tried that. So, do you think that the future success of food blogs is in hyper-specific recipe niches? I have a slow food recipe site and wondering if I should start a niche down second site. Well, that's industry knowledge I don't have. I think that the content would technically work, but I don't know if that's a good strategy or not for your audience, because I don't know what they want and don't want. So I would try to get data. If you can get good traffic stats on how those types of content perform, adoption rate, search statistics, maybe focus group, get some survey data. I would try to find supporting information for the decision you're trying to make. What do you think, Lee?
Yeah, I think recipe sites, those are hard because most of those things they're very, very well tuned. The pages tend to be long form content. It's almost a joke. Why do I have to scroll for a half an hour through your life history to get to the damn recipe? So you have that, and most of them, because they're making money on AdSense, have just a hell of a backlink profile as well. So rather than breaking out individual little sites, I would tend to keep going for the authority site. That would just be the way that I would lean in the absence of data. I think there are advantages there that you don't want to give up.
Yeah, underserved niches in that recipe thing would probably play well to that microsite kind of concept, breaking off a piece for those underserved ones. But these two are right. You're better off with an authority play on that, because that's what all those recipe sites are doing right now.
Yeah, and I think if you're a publishing business, meaning you're making most of your income from ad revenue, you generally want to show the biggest numbers possible through those third-party advertising platforms. And so typically when you're making most of your money off of ads, you want the authority site, because that's going to get you the most sponsors, buying placements and the best rates. So yeah, I would probably go for an authority site if you're a publishing business specifically.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, if you're using Ezoic, for example, the more traffic and the more clicks you generate for them, the better your CPAs are, and it kind of compounds on itself.
What's your number one choice for layer one links? My favorite, the way I describe tiers, because I get confused, is your home page is tier one, your target page is tier one. That's, some people call it tier 0. I start at 1. So the next level down for me is tier 2. So what's the next layer of protection? And that's usually the intermediate page before you can start doing shady shit. And so my tier 2 is usually real sites out in the world, or web 2.0s for the brand. I generally don't do link building and spammy shit to anything that is a claimed brand, because you may want to use that for legitimate purposes down the road. So the stuff I will generally work with for link building will usually be throwaway sites I control, because I don't like making messes I can't clean up. So if something goes sideways, if Google changes how it works, I want to have some ability to clean it up and correct quickly. So I will test new sources of backlinks on throwaway domains. And the thing I'm looking for is, does the new source of backlinks de-index the throwaway domain? If it does, I don't throw it away. That becomes my tier 2. That becomes my intermediate page. I make it relevant. I link it to the money site, and I go get a new throwaway domain for testing new sources of backlinks. So it becomes a process where when a new source of backlinks de-indexes a page, I have a new tier 2 page to work with, and I have to get a new domain for testing. And if it doesn't demote a page, then I have an indicator that this new source of backlinks may actually be safe for a money site. Might need more testing, but at least there's some indication that it didn't tank. What do you think, Clint?
I mean, all that stuff that you just did, I mean, that's like a lot of work. So I don't do any of that. I'm the GSA guy, right? So I'll just blast away. So when he's talking about tier 1s, I kind of look at it this way. If you had a business and you could choose between a poster guy with one of those spinning arrows or an escort pointing to the customers in your direction, which way would you go? And you would pick the spinning arrows because it's more representative of your business. It stands out to you. It represents you well, and is doing you good by driving traffic or views or rankings to your website. So why would you intentionally point hookers at it? But you can point hookers at the spinning guy. You know what I mean? So that's kind of how I look at the tier stuff. Everything pointing at my money site should be something that the client can look at and go, oh, that's cool. And then the rest of it doesn't necessarily need to be that clean.
All right, Clint, that was the weirdest SEO analogy I've ever heard.
Oh no, I'm relooking at my backlink profile right now in a whole new way.
All right.
Product of my niche. I'm sorry.
All right. So we're 15 minutes over. I'm going to go ahead and call it here. So thank you, everyone. This was a great show. A lot of awesome, amazing questions. So we will see you next week when we have another show. I'll try to have a topic here. I know I've done a number of Q&As. Let me know in the comments. Do you like the lesson plan topics, or do you prefer the Q&As? What do you like more? Is there a mix that you would want? Give me some feedback in the YouTube comments of the video. And